We went through all of these and we researched all of these. What we found in the end, that we discovered a single insight that related to every egg consumer, which was like striking gold, I suppose, when you're trying to find something innovative in a category that already exists. And that was, I care, but it's all too hard. And let me explain that. In the UK at that time, we had a vast variety of different categories of eggs. We had caged eggs, barn eggs, we had free-range eggs, we had lots of individual ones in between. Confused. They were approaching the category, they just felt, I don't know what to choose. I don't know what the difference is between organic and free-range. I don't know what the difference is between a barn and a caged egg. And really, it wasn't really the key purchase decider for them, because they felt that all of these brands should be looking after the hens anyway. So that what we discovered was the key insight that kind of related to all egg consumers was they just wanted the tastiest egg. We're all pretty selfish at heart when we're shopping. Yes, we'd love to know that animals are taken care of and everything, but our key purchase decision at that was, well, I want the best egg. Yes, please look after the animals that are laying that egg, but it has to be the tastiest one for me to buy it. So we made it easier for consumers to do the right thing. They're really well looked after. So by proxy, they could feel like they were doing their little bit for welfare. And I'll take you through the strategic part of the thinking of how we got to that. And again, this is a very interesting line. Focus on what makes you different, not the same as everyone else. When you're innovating, that's one of the key challenges. If you're going to innovate as a brand, it's got to be those differences that you bring to the category, not what makes you the same as everyone else. I think it's Rice and one of the 22 immutable laws of branding, when they say the more you narrow the focus, a stronger a brand becomes. Well, this is our model of what we use when we do a brand. Now, I'm sure everyone in the room here today has worked with brand onions, brand pyramids, brand keys. I think there were some people from Unilever here, brand love keys. All of those different models. This is ours. It's a brand eye. I think it's the only difference it has is that there's less words on this than you'll find on most models. We use a brand eye because it's about focus. And that's the only reason we've called it an eye, really. You can probably see that most of the headings on there are the same as the ones you have: proposition, values, personality, and a soul in the center, which is essentially the brand essence. So for our happy egg story, our brand eye obviously became our brand egg. We wanted to personalize it for the brand. So the proposition we discovered was, and it's a very simple one, that the happiest hens lay the best eggs. Who wouldn't believe that? Who wouldn't believe a happy hen lays a tasty egg? It was a very simple proposition. It's only 7 words. What we find, the sharper the proposition, the less chance there is for diversity on the brand when it starts to work through all the touch points. The substantiators, or the reasons to believe, were 5 steps to happiness, and I'll come back to those in a second. Benefits, what we usually find when you're talking about benefits of a brand, there's usually some functional benefits, and there's usually some emotional ones. Now, what you can consider on that is, if you can combine those together, then you've got a real benefit for consumers. And if you think of the benefit as, that's what consumers get. That's the benefit of buying into your brand. So this one was, well, we'll just make you feel happier about buying eggs. It's a very simple benefit, but it was one that really resonated with consumers. The 2 outer parts of the egg here, the values and the personality. The values are more commonly now called beliefs, brand beliefs. What we're finding with brands, and especially as we move forward, these are starting to become very important for brands where consumers want a relationship with that brand and not just about a reason to believe. The values, it was very interesting when we worked on the Happy Eggs one, because we found the farmers who looked after the hens called the hens the girls. That's what he called them, and it was always the girls come first. So as part of this project, we answered a very age-old question of what came first, the chicken or the egg. Well, in Happy Eggs, it's always the chicken that came first, it's the hens. And personality, when we look at personality, brands often fall into a mistake of, if we were a celebrity, we would be X. We don't like to do that. Personality should be about you. And the best way of working on a brand personality is probably to work out the obstacles your personality needs to overcome. So in a world where no one was talking about free range or no one's having any communication with consumers, our personality, we had to be engaging. We had to start a discussion with consumers. In a grey-green world, we had to be vibrant. We had to walk into the room and bring it to life. We had to kind of light up the room. And we had to do it with a sense of fun because everyone else was being very serious in the category. So that was our difference. We would do things, and we wouldn't be fickle about it, but we would do it in a warm and engaging way. And the soul was Hentopia. Obviously, once you've got all of that, our brand essence was Hentopia, a place where all hens are happy. Going back to the substantiators, the 5 steps to happiness, and for those of you who was wondering who Frida was, this was the character we created for the brand. Her name was Frida Rome. It's a play on words, free to roam. Hopefully that won't get too lost in translation. But she was our very own happy egg, and we happened to turn her into a hen, a cartoon hen. The 5 steps to happiness were very important because it run through everything internally and externally. Everyone involved in the brand had to do. So, for example, the perfect environment. Happy Eggs has a team of people who work on the farms to make it the happiest place for hens. So they design activity kits for the hens. They design climbing frames for them. Some of the farmers sing to the hens. We have no scientific proof if that lays better eggs or not, but they seem to be happy. And also they give them mud baths, which hens like. So everything that is done on there, they plant trees on the farms. They have more open space than any other brand. Everything they do is to ensure that the hen is as happy as it can be. Another interesting one on the 5 steps to happiness was give something back. It was important because if you're going to work for the Happy Egg Company, then you need to be happy about it as well. So what we wanted to do was the people internally to feel good that they were giving something back. So they do lots of works with local schools and local businesses, teaching them about the whole egg process and demystifying free-range farming. So they go to they take the hens into schools, they show them the hens, they take away that kind of, it was very interesting that the rest of the world didn't have this, but in the 1970s, the UK had an egg scare where a politician came on TV and told everyone that eggs were just filled with salmonella, and eating more than one of them a week was bad for you. It's totally untrue. But it took about 20 years for the industry to recover from that one statement. The rest of the world carried on eating eggs because they knew that they were good for them. So moving on to the packaging then, well, we've got all of that insight. We had all of that strategy. Well, how does the package design look? Well, it's all about emotive semiotic simplicity. A brand name that demystified all of the husbandry policy in one name, the Happy Egg Company. We could have called it the Happy Hen Company. That would have taken it back to husbandry. The Happy Egg Company takes it back to what people wanted and taste, and about creating that tastiest egg. There was a deliberate, naive execution to this because we wanted to look made, not manufactured. We didn't want to feel like we were mass-produced. We wanted to feel small. There was real people involved in this brand, so we wanted it to look like that. The attitude to color we had, well, that was all about that that perfect color of a great yolk that you can only get. Doing this project, we actually discovered the perfect Pantone color that people expect a yolk to look when they crack that egg open. And we just made the box that color. What could say more of a happier egg than a perfect yellow yolk box? And also, what better ambassador then than obviously Frida Rome, who gave the brand an ability to not be so serious when we were talking about the serious stuff. So when we were talking about free range and when we were talking about animal welfare, that came from our brand ambassador, Frida. So did Frida find love? Well, if I take you back to our grey-green world, we injected a ray of sunshine into that, and as you can see, hopefully, how a dramatic effect it had on the category. And obviously, even with our own brands, we mark our own homework and put it through our brand love test. Well, was it distinctive? Well, yes, we started talking about taste in an aisle where everyone was talking about husbandry. Did it grab attention? Well, I think the yellow you probably saw from the last slide definitely did. And did we engage, strike a relationship? Well, yes, because we started to demystify the whole husbandry process for people and also let them feel good about buying free-range eggs and about buying them on taste. So we converted a nation of 75% cage buyers in the UK to a nation of 70% free-range buyers. And just to give you a bit of context where we did that as well, we did that in a recession and at a price premium. The brand got to 80 million GBP in 2 years. And we've just launched in California. It's a very interesting market, California, for eggs because they are half the population of the UK, but they eat twice as many eggs. By the way, that's not how free-range hens are in California. They don't surf. If only they did, that would be a great story for us. But they are on farms. I think the interesting thing with the Californian one, they didn't have any free-range qualifications out there or anything. So the happy egg promise worked globally because it wasn't about free range. It was about happy, great tasting eggs. So that shows when you get the core essence right of a brand, it can transfer globally because those cultural semiotics we stepped outside of, and it allowed the brand to work across in California as well as the UK. And just in case you thought it was impossible to do again, and probably at the damage of Spring It sounding like we only design egg packs, but I'll show you a few more. We do a lot more. Noble came to us and they asked, could we do it again after the success of that? So we launched Posh Birds, which was gastro eggs. So it was all of the quail's eggs, duck's eggs, any eggs that could be used for more gastro cuisine fell under this brand. Another one we launched was Eggs for Soldiers. I'll have to explain this a little bit probably. In the UK, we have a very strange habit of cutting toasted bread into thin strips, which we call soldiers, and we dip into hard-boiled eggs. Hence the bread going into the egg for the medal. The great thing news about this brand is recently raised £1 million for the Help for Heroes, charity. And lastly, the one that won a Pent Awards last year, concept one, was Just Laid. We're still working with Noble to make this a reality because it has a few logistical problems, as you can imagine, of how Just Laid eggs can be. But what it shows that you can innovate structurally without changing structure, just with a great idea. Thanks very much. Any questions?
Paul, I have a question.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I have a question for you. So this egg, does it, do you need to open the box to get the egg, or does this egg come straightly from this opening? So can this egg comes out of this opening without opening the pack? That's a question.
That is a good question. What you have to do is, it's a normal egg box, so you do have to push the egg back in to open the box.
哦，不好意思，我刚刚没听太清，是要拿开是吗？要揭开是吗？不好意思，那个我英文水平有限，所以那个他刚刚是说打开这个盒子是吗？呀？哦 ，OK， 哦 ，OK， 好，谢谢。
Thank you very much. When I see this package, so I saw the Penta Awards 2014, all of them. So I found this is such funny packaging. And so this is funny pack and also childish pack. And so I showed it to my little sister and to ask her opinion. Because normally in China, that in the shopping markets, we also see those green and the gray word. And my little sister found this great fun. And she asked me this question, where does the egg come out? Straight from this opening? Or so do we still need to open the pack? So she gave me the idea that why this egg cannot drop straightly out of this opening. So this is like that this hen is laying eggs. So I think that my little sister is really creative. Do you agree to her?
Definitely. I think let her give us her name. She looks like she got a good job in brand design growing up. I think the interesting thing that you mentioned was humor and, you know, a childlike humor. I think it's something a lot of brand owners are scared of when we speak to them about using humor in design. It feels one of those taboo subjects. I mean, we always use a good example of why Unilever would buy Ben & Jerry's. Yeah. You know, I think it's not because they can't make good ice cream. They make some of the best ice cream in the world, but it's because they can't have that naive humor of, you know, two crazy guys who are in a shed making ice cream. And I think that it's very interestingly, when you're talking about emotive cues in branding, humor, as we know, as an emotion, is a hugely strong emotion. I mean, and it's probably been used in advertising stronger over the years than it has in packaging. And we don't see that there should be any separation in that. If it can do it right, then humor can be just as strong on a piece of packaging, as long as you make sure you get those kind of emotive triggers right.
谢谢 Paul.
Thank you very much, Paul. So I will bring your comments to my little sister. So if you do have this pack that had the egg come straight out of this opening, that you need to reward her.
So that was great work. One question I have for the speaker here. Great design work. Just coming back on the egg packaging for the China market, for example, it's kind of a similar situation where it's a commodity. People have been eating it for centuries. So if you were to do the similar work for China, where the market is a little bit more functional in nature, where people give a lot of importance to functional ingredients and benefits, how would you kind of approach that for a market like China, using your experience from the UK, recognizing that the markets are completely different?
I think it's interesting you talk, and when you speak about the market being different, I think we'd go back to then and say, well, emotively, if we can get to that level, then it's not, because I think, and that's the problem. I think the problem with a lot of brands is that functionally, when they start to do anything new innovation, it's a lot of the time it's from a functional purpose. So it's a new piece of structural packaging, or it's a new improved recipe, or it's a new type of product. Well, what we find in the UK, and I'm sure it's the same in Asia here, is that the retail people are very adept at copying functional attributes. In fact, they'll come and ask you to make them for them most of the time. And if you stay at that functional level, then you're only going to be, as I discussed earlier on, as soon as someone better functionally comes along, all of your consumers will jump to them. So we would say it's key to tap into an emotive feel for your brand. So unless you've got that emotive, that love for a brand, then consumers are just going to only be with you until something better comes along. So I know there's a tendency to think the market is functional, but as A Bite of China and shows like that, you know, there's a huge passion for cooking in the Asian culture. And I think there's probably more emotive kind of language in Asian culture and cuisine than it is in the UK. So if we can do it in the UK, we could definitely do it in here in China, I believe. Thank you.
To share with you your comment on humor. I think we underestimate the power of humor when we do innovation. Especially humor always is linked to happiness. Yeah? So it's a very powerful emotion, as I mentioned before, that we don't explore that much, I think. So very good point. We have for our last speaker, Mr. Christian Stanchu. We just got informed that he had a big delay on his flight, so he won't make it. That means that we, in this room, we will stop now with the last presentation from our beautiful chicken. And but we are more than welcome to in the other room, where there is still some very interesting presentations happening. Microsoft, Admaster, Baidu. So you can join the other one. But before you leave, Isabella will give a few directions for tonight for the dinner for whoever is attending. So thank you very much. It was a pleasure for me, and see you soon. Thank you.
谢谢马塞洛。
Thank you, Marcelo. Our last speaker had to come all the way from Romania. His designs won multiple Penta Awards. However, his plane is delayed, so he's gonna make a presentation tomorrow. Today, the innovation panel is concluded. You could go to the marketing innovation section, and gala dinner will start at 6:30. I understand that you've received many calls from our clients on registration, as there's many things. But I'd like to push you one more time. You see on your table evaluation forms, and for us, we have been working very hard. We would work around 12 to 14 hours a day for a long time for this project. So we look forward to hearing from your feedback. Do tell us anything that you feel unsatisfied with, so that we could do a better job in the next year's conference. If you can fill in the form and give it to our colleagues at registration table 3, it will be great. Thank you very much. See you at 6:30 for the gala dinner. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you. We're going to the other one. No, I'm not going now. I have a dinner with the Heineken team in Shanghai. Yeah, they're going to show me bars. Tomorrow, yeah, come. Okay. See you tomorrow. Thank you. Very nice.
And for our evaluation forms, on your table time you see, but I'd like to push you one more time, as there's many things. Registration from our clients on, we would been working very hard. We have hours a day for like around 12 to 14. You've received many calls to feedback to hearing from your. So we look forward for a long time for this project so that we could do a better unsatisfied way to feel if you conference a job in the next years, anything that do tell us. I understand that can feel in the forum and colleagues at registered to our give the Gala 30 for. Thank you very much. See you at 6. Thank you. It will be great. Thank you. Table 3. You registration, as there's many things. But I'd like to push you one more time. You see on your table, been working very hard. We would work from our clients on evaluation forms. And for us, you've received many calls. So we look forward to hearing from your feedback, unsatisfied with, so that we could do a better for a long time for this project conference. If you feel do tell us anything the job in the next years can feel. I understand that in the forum and colleagues at registration give it to our 30 for the gala dinner. Thank you. Thank you very much. See you at registration table 3. It will be great. Thank you. Work around 12 to 14 hours a day. We have